Nowadays, communities really exist on social media. I've come to that conclusion. A lot of the communities that we see are playing out on social media, in which those are not real communities. Social media communities are not real communities, right? When it comes down to Facebook, Instagram, you know, all these different apps that we can connect on, it's not really a place for people to connect, because the real way to connect is by face-to-face interaction. That's the best way to communicate, is in somebody's face, around somebody, around a group of people, where you get to know somebody or a group of people for who they are. You can only see so much of somebody's character, of somebody's personality, how they move, how they act, how they behave when it's on social media. When you're talking to them via Instagram, via Messenger, however y'all communicate, even on Discord. You probably join a whole bunch of Discord groups, but they're not real ways to interact with people. I mean, sure, it can be useful. It's probably the only option that's available to communicate with other people, right? But the point that I'm trying to make, it's not real community. Real community was when the whole neighborhood had a barbecue, had a get together, right? Block parties. Okay, when your mom or your parents had a party, they invited their friends, you was able to invite your friends. Everybody was invited, right? That's community. When you have um like a party or something at the job, at the workplace, like some workplaces, they do barbecues, they do parties and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? That's people coming together. The co-workers, employees are allowed to bring their children, bring other people to this cookout, to this, this work party, right? That's community. And I had examples of this in my own life, right? When you went, the days when you were a kid and you went to the park with all your friends, okay, your parents was there, their parents was there, y'all was just having fun, doing your thing, interacting. Like, that was real community. Today, what you see in community is Discord groups, okay? Facebook groups, okay? People talking through Instagram. You have all these different online groups, and it's not real community. You may think it is, but it's not. Because we've been conditioned this way for the past 4 years, ever since the pandemic, right? We've been conditioned to interact via phone, right? Via computer screen, through all these Zoom calls and whatnot. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's just a new way that we're conditioned to communicate, to connect. But I'm here to tell you that that is not the best nor effective way to build community. It's not going to build community, right? It's just we are conditioned to believe that online, social media is the best way to connect and to build community. But when you were younger, you had the best examples of what a community looked like, what it actually was. And it had nothing to do with your phone, it had nothing to do with your computer, it had nothing to do with some social media app. It had nothing to do with social media at all. It had everything to do with people actually coming together, okay, in different neighborhoods, different cliques, different groups, different tribes, and whatnot. Okay, everybody face to face, everybody around one another, right? In person. That's how it was before technology took over, and now we're pretty much immersed in this new way of communicating, this new way of coming together, right? This is why I say social media community is not real community, okay? Real community is pretty much non existent. I mean, it may exist in other countries, third world countries and whatnot. But here in America, we're conditioned to use our phone. You know, we're conditioned, we can't just walk up the street no more and talk to people. We can't just, no one's really taking walks like that. No one's really doing much activities outside. Back in the day, there was an abundance of activities that was being done by humans outside, right? We had an abundance of community back in the day because there was no technology. I mean, me personally, if I can speak for myself, I didn't even get my first phone until I was 16. My first real phone. Before 16, I didn't know what it was like to really use a computer. I really wasn't on social media like that. I was so used to interacting and communicating with people in real life, in real time. So it took me a while to become immersed in communicating with people on the phones and social media and whatnot, because that just became the norm. It became the norm for everybody, right? And there are communities that do exist in real life. Some may not be the best option. Some communities are actually cults, right? Which are not good. They're not meant for a lot of people. Cults are not for everybody. It's definitely not for me, right? And it's probably not for you watching this video. But the point I really want to make is real life communities do not exist like that anymore. It may not exist in your neighborhood. It may not exist in your city or your suburban area, right, where you live at. And that's where it exists the most when you were younger. The early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, right? There was always an abundance of communities of everybody did something outside. There was no such thing as you staying inside the house, because if you were staying inside the house in those generations, in those years, you was considered to be a lame. You was considered to be weird and abnormal and whatever. So you had to go outside and meet people in real time. It doesn't take much effort now to pick up your phone and to message some random person on Instagram and talk to somebody on Messenger and add somebody on Facebook. It doesn't take much effort to do that anymore. Or, well, it never took that much effort to begin with, because it's a phone, it's technology, right? But before technology, you had to make an effort. You had to really go out there and communicate with real people in real time. And I think today that's really lost. I think that's a lost art now in today's world. So this is why for a lot of us, we're so isolated and we're alone most of the time, and it's hard for us to really meet people in different areas of your city, your town, right? There's not much community anymore, and there's not a lot of young people really interacting anymore. Notice it's always the older generation, the baby boomers, Generation X, I believe, because they grew up without technology. So it's already ingrained in their brain to actually communicate, meet people in real life, and build meaningful relationships. You know, for some millennials and for a lot of Gen Z folk, it's hard for them to build relationships in real life, they have to use the phone. They have to use Facebook. They have to use Instagram because everyone else is using it. No one else really knows how to talk or interact anymore. So that's a point I want to make in this video. So with that being said, make sure y'all like the video for the algorithm. More content is to come. Subscribe for more transparent content. This is Solo Dolo Talks. I'm out, and peace.